Hey there, coaches. My name is Rich Hargitt. I'm the head football coach at Emmett High School out here in Emmett, Idaho, and I'm also the lead consultant for the surface to air system. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section of this video, and I'd be happy to answer those at another time. Before we get started, it would be great if you would like this video and also subscribe to our channel so that we can just reach a few more coaches out there. Thank you very much. All right, what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at GT counter. GT counter is a very ubiquitous play throughout college, high school, and even now a little bit with what the Ravens are doing into the NFL world of football. And so I wanted to talk to you about how it fits sort of into the S2A family of football plays. And here's what I mean by that. I'm going to make the case for you today that it's really a power play. It's just power. Now, some of you may have already decided that. Some of you may completely disagree with that. Obviously, that's the great thing about internet-based communications is we've got all sorts of differing opinions on that. So it fits into the power family of plays. So let's do this first of all. Let's just real quick draw up what power really means, okay? And I think that's a great starting point. And when we get done here, I've also got a little film for you, a few clips from the last couple of years. We didn't run a lot of GT counter in 21. We specialized in power. It's going to come back for us a little bit more this coming fall. And so I've got some clips that are a couple years old, 2 years old, I think, but still fairly modern clips of it. So power means we're going to block up the backside. We're going to block back with the center, and we're going to post and bulldoze that three technique to the backside. We're going to kick out with a fullback or a tight end, and we're going to pull and wrap with a guard. So let's think about what we're really doing. We're setting the A gap, right? We're setting the A gap. Then we are walling things off, and we are pulling people around to the second level and then puncturing the defense vertically right there with the power play. That's really what we're doing, okay? So let's take that another step further, and let's look at GT counter. Now, I'm going to put the receivers in there, and I'm going to give you some RPO looks and things like that. But again, I don't know that that's really the focal point of today's conversation. I'm much more interested in discussing, kind of how we're going to block this thing up in the box. So let's first take a look at just kind of your standard everyday home loving American 4-2-5 basic defensive structure. So I think it's really important that we talk about what does this play look like to a tight end? What does this play look like away from a tight end, to a three technique, to a shade, to an odd? We're going to try to get all that stuff for you today. So think power football, right? That's the family of plays that we put GT counter in. So if we're keeping that, and I would also be remiss if I didn't mention, to us, this is a 10P power play. So the tight end's not a factor. So let's give ourselves a bubble out the back door. We'd run a grass concept out the front door, which means our tight end would be arcing and popping right there because he would normally be running a slant. He can't do that. So we would go ahead and just let him arc. Now, let's think same thing. We're going to post this guy, bulldoze with this guy, and run that double team to the backside. Center's job is to on or block back on the A gap. Now the guard is the kick out player, and the tackle is the wrap player for the second level. The only fundamental difference is we've got to read that guy on the backside now, okay? You don't have to. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But fundamentally, that is a power play. If I drew power up right next to it and I said, okay, we've got that same front with a fullback, blah, blah, blah. We're going to block back. There's our center. There's our double team. There's our kick out. There's our pull around. So I would make the case that GT counter is nothing more than the 10P cousin of A gap power. We treat it exactly the same. It's the same family of plays. We don't make a giant differentiation between them. Okay, so now let's take a look at this play away from a tight end. I did forget to mention that first time. We would add a little rocker step to our tailback. Okay, so we would have that guy stepping away. I'll include that this time. Now you're in that tray set right there. Okay, so what I mean is our tailback would have that little rocker, that little step away, jab step, and come back. Now, what's the center's job? He's going to block back. We're going to we're going to post that guy. We're going to try to bulldoze to the backside. There's my kick out player. There's my pull through player. If we made an X call or a clamp call, we would actually cut that guy down. We would block that backside C gap player and have no read on it. If I wanted that guy to leave and be a part of, whatever we have going on out here, I would make a Raider call. So a Raider would allow him to leave. A clamp or an X would tell him to block that player up in the C gap. Now, we've got some other videos out where we talk about, how to block back with the center and the tackle, or a cracking adjustment with the tackle and the tight end. Those are all applicable as well. But I think what we're fundamentally looking at is just that basic nature of blocking the play. Okay, so there it is against a couple different fronts. It's very versatile. We can take the Y off the ball. Obviously, you can dress this thing up. That's what I like about it. You can dress it up 1,000 ways from Sunday, make it look a little different and shiny and fancy. Okay, let's say that we're facing an odd structure. Obviously, a lot of people are going to get into this nowadays. Let's say they've even gotten themselves reduced down to 1 high. Okay, there's a completely easy structure to identify. So now I can bring this guy in orbit motion, bring him around. Now we can do all kinds of different things. We can spot this guy up and wheel that guy out of there, or pop pass him, or whatever you want to do, right? Your imagination's limitless on that. Now we're going to post this guy, we're going to bulldoze there, and we're going to work it back. Now there's a couple different ways we can go about this. If we feel like we can handle the backdoor side of the play, then I will on call this guy, and I will actually pull, and I will kick out that 9 technique and wrap for that backer. Now that to me is a power play. That's exactly how we'd block a gap power. That is a gap power. But I would have to read, let's change that color right there. I would have to read that guy, but I would really be in a double read, because he's probably going to what we call water ski or crash down with that. If that's what I want, and I want to get a pull and get my quarterback one-on-one with that backer, now we can play true triple option football. I can spit that ball out sideways. I can get it out there in space. I can throw it behind him. There's 1,000 different ways to do that. Okay. Or if I don't like that world, let's get some of this junk out of here. If I don't like that world, and that's not something that I want to do, and I want to keep things simple, I'm just going to retract this right back here. If I want to keep things a little bit more simple, kind of stay with a more basic style of play, I can call an X call right there and block that guy and pull these guys down the line and fit that thing. That's totally a thing. Okay. That's not a problem at all. Now there's a whole nother world we can get into here if we want to. Another thing we can do is we can make a down call against an odd front. If we make a down call, we're going to send the center all the way back to that 4-eye, 4-5, whatever that guy's play, especially if you're getting the tight mint front answer. You can come all the way back onto that 4-eye, teach your guard to get down on the 0, and take those very, very steep angles right there, which means we would kick that guy and pull around, and we would leave him outside the fit, so to speak, right? Now we can do all kinds of stuff out here. We can arc this guy, and we can block him as well. Now we've got a really easy RPO, because essentially they're a man short. We could also do some stuff where we ran a spot route and took him to the corner. I mean, again, the options are almost limitless on what you can do right there. Now, sticking with that odd structure, there's a whole nother, sort of way you can spin this. You can make a short call. If you make a short call, that's a true veer down style. We're going to get that guy, and we're going to trap one man short. It means we're going to trap the 4-eye. If we trap the 4-eye, we're expecting that we've got everybody blocked up against a mint front. Let's assume these guys are 4-eyes. These defensive ends are 4-eyes. We think we're going to get a pretty good angle there, a pretty good angle there. If this guy were to stem outside, we would trap him, and our tackle would also, we get a double kick out, and we would be running the ball back up underneath those guys. If, however, he's a pinch guy, okay, and he comes down super, super hard, and he tries to sort of spike and take out our pullers right there, then we would just go ahead on a short and log him as best we can. And our second puller would fit right there, and that might bounce one gap wider. Okay, so I think you have to have a plethora of line calls. I think you have to be able to change that narrative quite a bit. You got to have a bunch of different options on how you're going to fit that thing up based upon what you see. When you see a 40 front defense, it's fairly simple. It's fairly standard. You're probably going to be trapping a 5 most of the time, and you're going to be pulling up onto a linebacker. But when you get these odd front defenses, you've got to have a whole series of answers. One other thing we should probably discuss, totally possible here, that you could get this. Let's throw this in the narrative just for the fun of it. You could come out here in 13P, which is, I love it. I absolutely love 13P. I think it's got so many versatile answers. They're probably going to get into a Miami here, or a 4-3 structure. They can obviously change that. They can jump out of that and go with something else. But if we saw this, there's a couple ways we're going to handle this. So we're going to block back right there. We're going to double that guy, and we're going to collect. Now, we're thinking we're going back to the will, but we may not be. Okay, we just may not be. And if we're not able to get back to will, we might end up collecting a Mike, and that's okay. Now, we've got to make a couple decisions with the front side tight end, the Y. If you're giving us a ton of 7, that means you're probably playing contain with all those guys out there. That's fine. We can do a bunch of different stuff right here. We can make a base call, and we can try to base out that guy. We can make a down call. If he's going to be a consistent problem as a 7 technique, there's certainly things you can do with that. One thing I really like is to just leave him on a pop pass. And the reason why, I know this triangle of guys right here, one of them is going to have to take him. So I'm getting rid of one of those guys. Now I pull down the line and I trap, I pull down the line and I wrap. Okay. I know I'm going to get 2 of your 3 linebackers right there. Okay. One of the things that you can do, and it all depends upon how the defense presents itself. You can come out here and you can make a Raider call, a double Raider call. You can do whatever you want with it, really. But here's one thing we do. We'll run a glance post and a shoot route right there, because now I know I'm going to get some influence. If I feel like your Will is running and your Sam is fitting the box, then I will add a wrap tag and I will bring the H around so I have an extra puller. Okay. Now I'm really pulling 3 guys on that GT counter. But if I feel like the math is better in my favor over here, then I will start to change that whole RPO structure over there, and I will give it a different look. Okay. And here's what I mean by that. I might go fade, stick, and I might bring the H to the flat. Now, you would say, well, coach, why are you going to do that? Well, now I know the Will cannot run with the run play. Okay. If he's running over the top with the run play, I'm going to pull it and I'm just going to kick it out there and I'm going to win consistently because they only have 2 defenders on the backside. But if the Will is already staying back there and playing the RPO, then I'm going to pull that H around and fit him into the mix. Now, if they are a consistent, let's go all the way back. Let's give you a whole nother ball of wax here. If they are a team that is going to stay in a pretty darn consistent, get all our pieces back in here. They're going to stay in a pretty darn consistent answer of, let's go here, of a 4-4 structure. Okay. So they're going to give you those tight looks right there. They're going to play the C gap and they're going to get into the old time 4-4 split 40 defense. And they're going to let those guys play right there. Okay. Now I would have some different answers there. Now I would start adding stuff like this. I would block back. I would run that double team back and I would arc and I would collect that backer, trap and influence him, pull around. And now I'm definitely going to get into that RPO world. I might run a spot with a corner and a Raider back there. Okay. Now I'm very conscious of the fact that I have more players out the back door than you do. So your free safety has got to play the pass weak. which means if that thing pops right here, the only thing you have left is the corner. There's 100 ways to play this game. And then certainly, there's no way in this conversation I'm going to get them all, but I would be remiss if I didn't throw this nugget in there as well. This is what's so awesome, in my opinion, about this play is you can come out in a true 10P structure, spread them all the way out, right? Make them play the whole field out here. Get those backers out of the box. And we'll get this from a lot of odd teams. They'll have some issues with us because they've got to decide how are they going to cover that trip set over there. And so now I can bring this guy back in motion and I can run some bash style GT counter. So on bash, we would block up this side. I would let these guys run, some simple RPO fade out bubble, whatever would keep that guy back over there. And now you can play some really cool games with these guys. So let's assume this is a mint front, right? Let's assume they're in 4 eyes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combo that, and I'm just going to base the daylights out of that guy. I'm just going to on-call him. And now I'm going to pull the guard because if this backer falls back, I have a trap player, and I've already wrapped that linebacker. Now, if that 4-eye fights, we're going to wash him all the way down the A and just pull around him. If he bases me up, we're going to get in a dogfight, and we're going to hit that baby tight in the A gap. Well, now with that structure, I'm reading this guy. So I'm going to shuffle over. And if he takes the fly action, I'm going to put that ball back off tackle with the quarterback. If he sits on the line of scrimmage, we're going to outflank him and just hand the ball off and run. So I think, again, you're seeing that ubiquitous nature of GT counter, 10P, 11P, 12P, the sky's the limit really on however you want to play that thing out. I like it out of this as well. I think this is a total option you can run it from. It does not look as scary. And certainly you can get into pistol and all those things as well. You can do whatever you want with this. I'm not trying to convince you what to do, but what you're doing when you create all these surface changes. And remember, I'm a big surface change guy. That's my jam in surface to air system. I believe keep making things look different. You're going to get some really goofy answers out of that defense. And so I think you can dress this up and you can play a lot of games now. This is one, I would bring this because I'm going to hold your safety in your corner over there. And then I'd run a slant in the back door right there to keep things honest, step away, and I'm going to be running counters. So now I've got that angle because I'm running it back to a shade. We would probably CT counter that instead of GT counter it, but for the purpose of this exercise, I'll go ahead and trap it. I'll pull for it. I've got great angles right there. Now, what tag can I add? I can just add an X tag, and I'll just step back with the fullback and kick out your 5 tech or your 7 technique right there. And now I've got great angles. I've got great angles everywhere. The only people that I've not really fundamentally accounted for are these 2 guys right here. But I've got the front door slant RPO that I can sneak in there if that backer gets nosy. And obviously you're asking a safety to come off the hash and run downhill. I think they're in even worse shape if they try to get too much into 1 high. So lots and lots of options. There's no way in this one video I can draw them all, but hopefully this gives you a sprinkling of all the ways you can run GT counter. And then if you're interested, the second part of this video is going to be just film. I think I've got 10 clips for you. So hopefully that stuff's good for you, and hopefully it'll help you out and give you a frame of reference after seeing the whiteboard stuff. And hopefully it's useful for you. All right, coaches, now we're going to take a look at some of this GT counter film. Okay, now I don't have any CT counter. I don't have any Kraken clips, anything like that in here. This is just GT counter. That's what we focused on in the first half on the whiteboard session. So like I said, these clips are from our current football team. These were not this past season, but 2 years ago. We majored a lot more in GT counter then. We will be getting back to it even more probably in 2022. So again, just 10 clips, just very simple here, but I've got a few of them that are just the wide, have a few of them that are wide and end zone. So they'll give us a kind of a good flavor, and we'll just roll through these. So we're 3x1 to the boundary here. This team played us in a lot of double 2s and double 3s. And you can see here, GT counter pulling away from you. Up there at the top of the screen, I think let's start there. we are doubling that defensive tackle. You can see there, we're going to post and bulldoze him. The guard's coming off just a hair too early right there, but we're going to get a kick out and a pull through. And we tell our running back all the time, run right up the hash mark. The end zone is at the end of the hash marks, is a little one-liner we try to share with him. The end zone is at the end of the hash marks. Okay, get vertical and get right back on that hash mark. Here's a really good clip from the end zone. You can see our guard up there. He gets a slant from number 53, so he's going to come off a little quicker than I would like. I would have liked if he would have got a hold of that guy, got his foot in the ground first, and lifted him vertical. But look at our back, just right up the hash mark. Okay, that's good physical running, make one guy miss, and the free safety ends up having to tackle him when we pick up 9 yards. Okay, I think that's a really, really good clip. You can see there, doesn't really get much of a jab step, more of a shuffle. This kid was a little bit better at that. He was a little bit slower, more of a power back, so we let him shuffle to the quarterback. But I think that's a pretty good clip, gives you an idea, kind of how we try to stay up the hash mark with that play. All right, now, here we are, trips to the field. This play is going to go back to the boundary. Really good job. See our tailback just get in there behind that pulling tackle. Again, I would make the case that's nothing but A-gap power, okay? The guard is the fullback kicking out, and the tackle is the new guard wrapping for the linebacker. Okay, good job getting there behind that big boy and just shove that pile vertical. I actually wish he would have stayed with 78 just a hair longer. I think he loses 2 yards rushing. He picks up 6 or 7 hard yards here, but I think he would have got 2 more if right there he would have gone vertical and just shoved 78 right to that official right there. Just run that official over on the hash mark. See what happens when he gets off the hash. Now the play is east-west. I don't think it's quite as good. You get 6, you should have got 8. Okay, so that would have probably not been a super positive play for most people. But again, we got part of that chains pull. Okay, so now it's GT counter again, away from trips. Okay, we do a good job jumping back into the A gap right there. But initially, I didn't love that because you can see our tailback's too wide. Okay, this is, to me, A gap power. It's all GT counter is. Watch his aiming point. He punctures line of scrimmage too early and wants to be a bounce guy. He realizes it and gets back into the flow. Now it works. He puts his head down and gets us 12 hard yards right there. Okay, so it's a great job. That kid was Conference Player of the Year a year later. He was a good player for us. He's a young back. I think he's only a sophomore in this clip, so he got a lot better. But this is a mint front. You can see down here, these guys have reduced. They're playing a 4-eye. Watch my right tackle just drive 55 down in the A gap. Just drive him in the pile. He puts him all the way in the backside C gap right there and just doesn't even stress about it. Don't worry about that guy, right? It's irrelevant. Okay. And so I see a lot of people make a big deal about these tight mint fronts and, oh my goodness, they're doing this and they're doing this. I'm like, don't stress over that stuff. Okay. Just fit it as it fits naturally and make things easy on yourself. Don't put a square peg in a round hole. I think those things get you beat up front. Okay. So make it very easy on your kids. Give them simple rules and don't overcomplicate things. So that last clip was an odd mint front. Now you're going to see an even front. Okay. They just try to box it. Okay. Now our back does a lot of the work, but again, I'll tell you what my saying with our offensive line is really simple. Okay. I say all the time, the offensive line needs to set the table and the back needs to provide the meal. Okay. The offensive line needs to set the table and the back needs to provide the meal. The offensive line doesn't do a phenomenal job here. Okay, this is not a great block by them. They've got that jet, that wide 9 out there that they're trying to play with a 2-eye backside. That's a tough front. Plus, they're with a 0 Mike backer right there. It's a very odd front to block for us. They don't do a phenomenal job here, but they do good enough. Okay, our center gets back. You can see their 60's a big old boy right there. Okay, really hard to double that cat. He gets a stalemate. Well, when he gets a stalemate, 10 flows over the top. We box that guy. Now, look, we kick out. Okay, it's not even a great kick out. Again, a lot of these guys are young. They're sophomores. A lot of my guys up front are sophomores and juniors. Most of them are first-year starters in this film. This is not phenomenal right here. But look at the back. The back just stays in phase, cut back in the A-gap, and fall forward for 4 yards. Okay, the offensive line set the table for him. He provided the meal. He got 4 yards. We understand we're not more athletic than this team that we're playing. They're actually twice our size in enrollment. So we know we're not more athletic. We're just going to take the 4 to 5 to 6 yards as they come and stay competitive in this game. All right. Next clip up here, you're going to see we're going to be GT counter back to the field from the boundary. We're seeing a tight 4-man front again. Really good job. I think this is one of our best clips right here. When I show you this clip from the end zone, this is a 10-yard run. I understand that. I'm going to play it back, show it to you again. 10-yard run, right? Good, solid run. But I think this play, more than anything else, you see we got a little RPO out there on the perimeter. That's fine. I think this play, more than anything else, might show you the true nature of why this play is nothing more than A-gap power. Okay, we got a 3 technique to the call side, right in front of the official. We got a 2-eye backside right there. Let's start with the center. Snaps the ball, steps back. Bam. Great job. Now we've controlled the backside A. Everything's got to start there. Over at the right guard, does he post that 3 technique? Bam. Look at 66. Post him up right now. Great job. Now, 79 comes down and bulldoze that guy. Just start driving him away. Okay, now we've cleared both A-gaps. Watch my guard, who's number 65, the left guard, come in. He's the fullback. He's going to kick out. Boom. Now, I would have loved it if he would have kicked out the more interior of the 2 and got a 2-for-1 special right there, but good enough. Okay, our left tackle's only a sophomore, I think, in this clip. Maybe he's a junior. He goes on the following year to be All-State. So our left tackle's a pretty good player. Here he's a little young. Okay, here he comes around the horn. He can't wrap that guy, so bam, he just traps him. Now, what happens is I've gotten 2 kickouts from the center, the right guard, and the right tackle. I've really got A-gap power. On the backside, I get double kick out. Boom, boom. Those guys get 3 guys, right? Pretty good job. Pretty successful. Now, what does the back do that makes this play epically successful? What he does, his big contribution right here that really makes this play go, watch him cut inside. We say all the time, we want to run inside all knockout blocks. Let me say that again, because if you're coaching running backs, this is a huge point. Run inside all knockout blocks. We don't call those kickouts. We call them knockouts. We want to get on the inside shoulder of the guy that we're trying to, quote unquote, kick out, and we want to knock him outside. Running back, run inside all knockout blocks. There's a knockout. There's a knockout. Run inside of it. If that doesn't work, tell the little rascal, run back to the dadgum hash mark, right? That's our modus operandi. Run to the hash mark, or in this case, just frickin' run to daylight. That official is almost on the hash. He's just barely outside of it. Cut and run to that official right now. Run him over. You can see he's got to get out of the way, and by the time the cavalry shows up, that's a 10-yard run. I think that might be the best clip that really shows what we're trying to do with GT counter and how the play is nothing more than A-gap power. Again, I think they're the same play. Now, this is a unique style. We're running the GT counter to the trip side. Run it to the trip side. Again, look at that. Double kick out. Double kick out. Run underneath all knockout blocks. You're going to hear me echo that again and again and again and again. For the pullers, it's really simple. Whatever direction you're pulling, hit with that shoulder. Same foot, same shoulder. That's something we picked up from North Dakota State. Same foot, same shoulder. Kick them both out. Be done with it. Okay? Great job up front right here. Okay? They've got a 7-man box. We're outnumbered. We are absolutely outnumbered in the box. Got a sophomore quarterback. He's nervous. We go on, win this game. This is only like his 2nd or 3rd start. Okay, he's super nervous his sophomore year. Hand the dadgum ball off. It's okay. Trust the process. There's our post and bulldoze from the guard, the right guard, right tackle, post and bulldoze. The center's going to get a great block back. Look at the guard, get a kick out. He actually misses him. He over pulls and misses him. But the tackle comes around and knocks the next guy out. Look at the running back make us right. The offensive line didn't do a very good job setting the table. They missed a fork here, a fork and a spoon. They don't get a perfect fit on the defense, but it doesn't matter because the running back provides the meal. He's like, oh crap, get back in the A-gap, get to the hash. Pretty good run. 7 yards a carry is going to win you a lot of football games. Okay, so that's a pretty good job. Here you go, 10P run. Okay, no tight end in the game. GT counter from the same side. Very unique style of run. We don't do it very often. We just make a same side call. We have a signal that means same side. Why did I do this? Because I have a sophomore quarterback and a junior running back. I want the junior running back to get the ball, and they're squeezing off the backside. Watch them. Up at the top, they're squeezing. I don't want the quarterback to pull it and go out there and get decked and fumble the ball. We're ahead right now in the game. I just want to run the ball. Okay. So I went same side. I had him shuffle. Literally, you'll see the quarterback's body insulates the running back. Watch this. Pistol style footwork. Look at that. Just insulates him. I've got two guys on the backside right here and right here. They can't get to the running back. Now he has to bounce it. That's actually a great job. Look at what happened. They try to wrong arm it. Okay. Instead of boxing it, okay, box means they step outside and let us go underneath. Wrong arm means they come down and try to blow it up. Watch them wrong arm it. Here they come. Initially, I got to get downhill. Roll him, pin him. Now look at the running back. Try to get back to the hash mark. Boom. Good stuff. 11-yard carry. Very simple. Okay. Not a lot of flash, not a lot of pizzazz, not a lot of complication right there. Okay. This is actually against, I believe these guys won the state championship that year. So this is a pretty good football team we're seeing right here. These guys are not average. Okay. They're pretty good squad, pretty sound, pretty good team with a lot of athletes, a lot of college players on there. So we're in what we call rock. So we got the nub tight end down here at the bottom. Trips to the field. We're going to run GT counter back to the RPO. So I'm going to cut with my backside tight end. I'm letting the quarterback throw the RPO if he likes it as a gift up front up there. But they're man-to-man, so there's nothing he can throw. So we're just going to hand the ball off, and I'm going to cut down the C-gap player. I don't care about the D-gap player because he's got too far to run. So our little 160-pound tight end cuts that guy, and wham, there's a first down against the state champions. So I hear people say all the time, well, you can't run the ball with physicality if you're outnumbered and the team's better. That's a bunch of crap, okay? We were not very good at this point. We had not gotten our weightlifting program fully established yet. Okay, we were still an up-and-comer at this point, and we're playing guys, right? We're playing real legit dudes. These guys are a 3-3 stack, odd front team. Watch my tight end. We call it a Christmas block. Cut him like a Christmas tree. Woof! Take his feet out, put him on the ground. Basically, my tight end just took 3 guys out. He cuts the 5. The Sam stack backer behind him doesn't react, so he's done. And the strong safety, overhang, bandit, whatever you call him, 9 technique guy, he tries to go around it. Well, my tight end just got a 3-for-1 special, and the corner is stuck outside the fit out there. He basically just blocked 4 cats. I'm not a rocket scientist, but now I got huge numbers over here on my side. This is an example of a short call. Watch my right tackle. He's not going to base that DN. He's going to veer down and take the first backer he gets. He's going to pin the mic right there. Now, run inside all knockout blocks. Get back to the hash mark. Don't make this stuff complicated, guys. It's very simple. Okay, so now here comes the guard. He's going to knock out that all-state DN. Okay, my tackle misses. 78 should have pulled up in the A gap right there. Get vertical. He misses. He overpulls it. So my running back's like, well, screw it. I'll just cut back and run up the hash and run underneath all knockout blocks like I've been coached to do. And we get 8 yards on the state champs. Okay. So again, don't make things super complicated. Same team. Okay. Now we're going to throw a little curveball at him. We're going to go trips side. We're going to go trip side right here. And we're going to throw the RPO. Now, what this play actually was, guys, is this is quarterback GT counter with the tailback faking across the quarterback's path, running the X block, the kickout block. He's supposed to kick out this backside 5. The quarterback can either run it himself or throw the RPO. He elects to pitch it out there. You can see we block things up on the perimeter pretty well, and now we get 8 yards. That's a sophomore playing catch with a sophomore. Okay, so again, it's not super complicated, but we're putting some window dressing on it, right? This is just a simple little quarterback run. He elects to take the RPO, take those cheap 8 yards, get us out of our own end zone back there. So again, the tailback would have been responsible for this backside 5 technique back here, and the quarterback could have run it. But you can see as soon as he puts that ball on the plate, here they come. Everybody's downhill. He's got numbers on the perimeter. He spits it out. Take what the defense is given. Okay, again, don't make stuff complicated. We're in a tray set, trips tight up there to the top of the screen. Now we're going to pull away from that, cut with the backside tight end. That's a really good play. Let's look at that from the end zone cut. Okay, again, this defense is a big under front defense. All right, so we're going to be doubling the 3 technique over here. They're playing a little 2-2s, I think, in that set. Center's going to get back. Guard is going to come and be the first knockout. Tackle is the second knockout. Run underneath all knockout blocks. Look at that. Now, I would have loved it if that tailback would have got back to the hash mark just a hair and cut that back into the backside A. Right there, I would have liked him to stick his foot in the ground and head for that official right up there. I think he might have scored. Okay? But still, overall, not a bad play, not a bad fit. Pretty good yards for our guys right there. Okay? So again, coaches, we're not reinventing the wheel, but just to give you a few nuggets, give you a few things that are going to be helpful for you with that GT counter play. I hope this video was helpful for you, coaches. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love for you to like it and also hit the subscribe button on YouTube and help us out so we can reach more coaches. If you have questions, put them in the comment section below and we'll answer them as best we can. You can reach me on Twitter at Coach Hargitt, or you can reach the Surface to Air System account at S2A System, or you can find us on our website at www.surfacetoairsystem.com. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next video, coaches.